There are so many people to blame. There's so many fingers. I don't think I have enough fingers to blame or spread the blame or look at what happened in Barcelona's 4-1 defeat against PSG. It's their worst loss at home since 2003 when they lost to Deportivo La Coruña. And actually, that was the last time they had 4 goals conceded at the Camp Nou. 18 years almost. You start looking at what happened in this match and you start looking at the reactions all over the place. One thing starts to come to mind. There's a recurring theme of people saying, Leo's got to go. Leo, you got to go. We love you, but we want to see you happy. You got to go somewhere else. And like I said at the beginning, there are so many people to blame in this new debacle for Barcelona. People were talking, and even, mind you, in Spain, they were saying, they finally found it. They finally got it. Barcelona's back. This was 2 weeks ago. You can watch video of El Chiringuito, which is one of the top rated Spanish football shows on television over there, how they were talking about Koeman's the answer. That's gone. That's done. You saw a team that was broken. You saw a team that had no faith. You saw teammates that were bickering amongst each other. You heard it, actually. There's a video that came out, and my good friend Max Bredos ends up putting it out there. Also, Felipe Cárdenas put a version of it up as well. And you hear what's going on between Piqué. You hear Antoine Griezmann talking and rebutting him in the middle of a match. And you see all the liabilities. Barcelona defensively was a shambles. There's so many liabilities defensively, in part because they don't have the players to match up anymore. They don't have the recourses anymore. And more importantly, there's so many different liabilities out there. We can break it down starting from the left. Jordi Alba continues to be a threat going forward. Going backwards, he's a threat to his own team. It's like playing with 10.5 players, sometimes 9.5 players, depending on the context of the match. Jordi Alba gets smoked on 2 plays in which PSG happens to score both goals. He keeps a player onside. He ends up getting beat behind his back, and that's where the problems are. He has to drop back. He's more of a defender because he's chasing back and coming back and still has the speed to be able to return and defend, but that really doesn't matter much. I mean, this match started out with a big mistake by with Marc-Andre Ter Stegen. When he comes out of his box, there's a mistake, but fortunately for him, the ball ends up shooting straight up in the air. And of course, Mbappe has to wait a few seconds for that ball to drop back. By the time he's able to do anything with the ball, the defense is back. That's a problem. All of this is a problem. Jordi Alba is a problem. Gerard Piqué is a liability as well. As much as he yells and screams, he was part of the problem too defensively. Lenglet also is a problem defensively. Serginho Dest, I would give him a pass to a certain extent. He had the toughest assignment. He had the toughest matchup against Kylian Mbappe and whoever was going down this. Of course, also give a lot of credit to Kurzawa, who's also a vital cog to this team in this particular match. But Dest was doubtful at times. He had to drop back. The defense was giving them space. Here, we'll give you a little bit more space to operate. We'll give you better chances to shoot. We'll give you better opportunities to create offensive opportunities in front of us. And is the midfield that bad that you still have the same options in the midfield? Busquets, if you ask me, he's a former footballer. Busquets is a former footballer. He's a retired footballer at this stage of his career. He can't go up. He can't come back. He loses the ball easily, and he ends up being an even greater liability than the defenders I talked about earlier on. And De Jong. De Jong at least put some effort into it. De Jong at least put some elbow grease in it and goes and tries to associate. Dembélé, lost cause. Messi, and it sounds repetitive and it sounds like you're trying to defend him. And it sounds like you're luring yourself up in order to be, forgiving of him, but he was basically the only one that showed up. He was the only one that showed up in this match. There's no two ways about it. He's the only way. And he looked, and he was giving the ball movement. He was looking for his teammates. He started one counter, and it might have been more effective, but the window closed so quickly on that option, the one that comes out of the back. He quickly turns, finds Dembele making a run, but couldn't send the pass quite well. So he gives it off to Griezmann, who ends up on a 60, 70-yard jaunt and almost scores there for Barcelona. But he did those types of things throughout the match. Of course, he scored the lone goal for Barcelona, but the team is just a disaster. There is no personality. There's no leadership. Yeah, okay, Piqué was yelling. And like I said, he's part of the problem. But all of this lies on one person's shoulders, Ronald Koeman. Ronald Koeman really, to me, has shown little to nothing as a coach for Barcelona. And his track record is showing it. People that were asking for Koeman weeks ago. Remember, actually, let me go even back further. Remember when Ernesto Valverde, and again, I sounded like I was an Ernesto Valverde fanboy back in the time. But now, time, as it passes by, ends up giving you more reason. He did what he could with what he had. He did what he could with the pieces that were at his disposal and maximized them as best as possible. No longer did you have a team that was capable of pressuring up high, that was able to move the ball around the way they used to back in the days of Pep Guardiola, back in the days of even Tata Martino, and also going into the Luis Enrique days. It was a team that constantly had to evolve and change certain aspects because those players had changed. And now the players have changed as well. So if we keep that in mind, those types of players, those types of situations become so prevalent. They just stand out. They just stand out so easily when you start looking at the grand scheme of things. Ronald Koeman has done nothing for this team. They look about the same as they did with Quique Setién, and at least Ernesto Valverde was able to maximize them. And the mistake of taking out a coach mid-season last year they paid a major price to be able to continue paying for it now. I could not lie, but there's hardly any chance of going through. Those were the words of Ronald Koeman after the match. That's not what I want to hear from a coach. You go and say, yeah, it's difficult. They play better than us. Yes, but we are capable. I believe in my players to be able to go back to Paris and go and fight for our result. Something along those lines. I don't know, something that at least gives some confidence inside the dressing room. And of course, outside of the match, the one that probably got the most criticism was Ronald Koeman because of his reaction. Yeah, I know he embraced Moise Kean after the match. He has a history with him dating back to his days over at Everton. He does have that kinship with him, but you don't go out and you start smiling and laughing and joking around with the opposition. After getting your ass handed to in your backyard in one of the worst results at home in the past 18 years. Again, this is me talking from the outside and seeing how things are. It's embarrassing. It is totally embarrassing to see this Barcelona side once again. What is it? Rome, Anfield, Bayern, and now the fourth time in a row that they get smoked the way they're getting smoked. And mind you, people are going to talk, well, but we already beat them. They beat us once. They scored 4 on us once. We can come back again. Maybe. I mean, there's, but I don't see it. Not with this team. Not with these players. Not with this collective personality. I don't see it against a more mature, against a more veteran, against a team that has been more grizzled because of the adversities they were able to overcome last year in Paris Saint-Germain. Meanwhile, you see Barcelona going through some of those similar growing pains or painful moments, and instead of slowly rising out of it, they ended up sinking further and further until the present situation today. So where are we at here? Where are we at, Barca fans? Where are we at in terms of looking at this team from an overall standpoint? To me, Messi's got to go. And it was interesting to hear ESPN in Argentina saying, we want Messi to be happy. He should just go to PSG. You know what's the best thing that could happen to him? to get an Argentina call-up. Imagine how bad things are in Barcelona. That's what they were saying in Argentina. And it's ironic because a few years ago, it was the opposite. It seemed like he dreaded going to Argentina to go play for the national team, while Barca was his haven. It was his oasis. It was his utopia, because that's where he felt comfortable. Not anymore. That utopia is dead and gone, because now it's Argentina where he feels safe and he feels protected and he feels that there's something growing alongside him that can make him feel loved, and more importantly, can make him feel happy and productive. As I said on Twitter, ladies and gentlemen, today, no. This isn't Alaves, Toto. This isn't Alaves, Toto. Not at all. Because that's a different reality. Today was the real thing. Today and the match against Sevilla. That was the real deal. That was what is Barcelona right now. Many were talking about Alaves. Alaves. Okay, you could probably get somebody, a group of guys at a local pub, and you can at least get one in Alaves. But this is the real deal. This is what makes and breaks these teams. This is what's making, and of course, breaking Leo Messi. Because there's one thing it seems like with every passing Champions League, with every passing season, with every passing match, he looks more and more broken. And if not, just look at the video at the end of that match.